Alright, welcome back everybody to another episode of whatever we call this. It is me, your host, Super Kami Will. And I know we haven't done one of these in a long time, and today it's going to be a me episode. Originally I was going to have the Yu-Gi-Oh! Maximum Gold episode out, but Gene was like, no, don't do that. So he put out his own video. So I decided, hey, I'll bring back the old format of just doing a regular pad, if you will. And I am here to talk to you about RWBY Volume 8. Now, at the time of the recording of this, I think there's 3 episodes out. I've watched all 3. I watched them a little late because, like most people, I'm not paying Rooster Teeth to actually watch these shows anymore. I mean, come on. They have like 1 or 2 shows a year, and I think they're charging like hundreds of dollars a year or something. I don't know. But so I want to get into the first 3 episodes. And, I mean, if you follow this channel at all, you know that out of the 4 members of us, 1 doesn't watch, 1 used to watch. And then there's me and Gene, who we're keeping up to date with the show. But I mean, it's hard. It's really fallen like to a point where it's just like, ugh. Like you almost at this point we're almost dreading it coming back. And I know it's like, oh, why you watch it? Well, I mean, at this point we've been following this show for 6 years. We're too far in just to quit now. At least I am. I have to see this through. I'm like the captain on the Titanic in the movie, where it's just like the ship's going down, and I'm going with it. And yeah, it's going to be a hell of a ride. So, I mean, I'm not really going to talk about last season. I think we talked about last season. It was alright. I hated the political stuff in the show because it was just so, like, I don't know. It was just so bad. But the rest of the season from last season I really liked. I thought it was picking up. And this season so far, I think it's a little bit like last season. Some stuff I like, and then some stuff I'm not really into. I like that Salem's, like, she's in, I think, almost every episode at this point, because at this point she is the big bad. Like, it used to be, like Cinder, and then now it's Salem. But they didn't focus on Salem for a while, so now we're getting more Salem. She's coming, she's actually going to be a character in the show, and I look forward to it. I really like what they've done with, one of our goons, what's his name, Tyrion, the Scorpion guy. I mean, when he first came around, I was like, oh, he seemed like such a bland, boring character. But I think they've given him enough of not even character development. He's just done enough that I'm like, okay, he's kind of cool. I'm interested. The big hulking guy, couldn't care less. Mercury and Cinder and Emerald, couldn't care less. Interested to see what Neo's doing. I'm a little worried about that whole thing, because Rooster Teeth's in this weird thing where it's like, they want all their female villains to eventually turn face, I think. Well, I mean, to be good, because they're fan favorites. And this show, it's just, they're slaves to the fan theories about like what they want a character to do. Like, they like this character, we have to do it now. We have to make a canon because that's like the way to keep the audience. A terrible way to run a show, but that's what they're apparently doing. So in one scene, they showed Emerald they showed Cinder talking down to Neo, making her feel bad. Then they showed Cinder talking down Emerald to make her feel bad. And then they showed Salem talking down Cinder to make her feel bad. And I'm like, am I supposed to feel for all these characters? Is this like them planting seeds like, ooh, maybe one day they'll turn because they're not happy here? I really hope they don't do that. You can do that with maybe one of them. Like, I'd be okay with Neo skipping out. I really don't care for Emerald. I mean, she's bland. Like, I know people are like, oh, Emerald's so cool. She's not cool. She sucks. Emerald and Mercury are goons. They're side characters. They're not worth the screen time that they're on. And excuse me at this point if you're like, damn, this guy's talking really fast. There's so much to get into with the show. I could talk about it for hours. So I'm happy to see the villains are doing something. One villain who I'm really bummed to see is Watts, the doctor guy who's scientific. I mean, they should have killed him off. He's so boring. I guess in the latest episode they showed maybe he's doing something. But his character last season was so goofy. It was like from an 80s movie. I'm like, oh, this really doesn't fit this world. And his motives, that's one thing. The big strong dude, Hazel, and Watts, their motives are like so stupid and don't make sense. One of them is my sister died fighting these creatures. And it's the world's fault. Not the woman who's in charge of those creatures. It's the world's fault that his sister died. And then Watts is just like, I don't know, like he wants credit, his girlfriend died or something. It's something stupid. So, but for the most part, Salem, Cinder, and Tyrion. I'm okay with those being like the big bats. Bring it on. This show has had a lot of ups and downs. The most down it was, I think a lot of people can agree, was season 4, when the whole main group, RWBY, split up, and you followed all of their characters on these, for the most part, terrible solo adventures. I mean, yeah, Weiss's was pretty good. I really enjoyed Weiss's. They gave her a lot of character development, gave her a lot of time, showed her family. She was really good. RWBY was kind of just there for a long time. Weiss was absent for a while, but then she had some stuff to do. And then for me, my favorite character at the time, Blake, they really just like threw her in the dirt, like with the character development. She went from being a faunus rights revolutionary to like a spoiled rich girl who left her family, who's like, I want to come home, but I don't like things, and I left my team. She became like a really annoying character, and she is till this point. She's a horrible character who's like done all these, who keeps making one bad decision after the other, and like never gets held accountable for it. Like, it's just, like, she just keeps doing bad things, and people are like, no, it's okay, it's fine, because you meant to do the right thing. And at some point, I'm like, listen, someone has to, like, slap some reality into her, because she is just a letdown of a character, and just a black hole for her team. But they all split up. People really didn't like it. You wanted to see them together. I wanted to see them together. And when they finally got together, things were picking up. It was getting good. And then the season starts, and episode 1, they split them up. They split them up again. Why would they split them up? There's no reason to split them up. It's so dumb. And the worst part is they like, this show, all the character development has been in limbo for like 6 seasons. It's like, will X and X get together? Who knows? And they keep teasing it to the point where it's like, is this like 4 years of people just tiptoeing around their feelings? It's so annoying to watch. I'm sorry. Bumblebee fans, I can't watch anymore. I hate one of the characters. The other character is just there. It's the relationship part. It's like they've teased it to the point where it's like it's not gonna happen after this point, right? Like what is the final thing that's gonna push them over the edge? They had when they fought and I think they fought and killed Adam. Like that was the big moment of like, this is it. This is when they get together. And they were like, nah, let's hold back on that. And then it's like since then it's been like a season or 2 of them just like having like 1 or 2 conversations together, and then that's been it. And then on the other reverse of that, you have Noah and Ren, 2 characters who are dragging down every scene they're in. I mean, I was a fan of Team Juniper in the beginning. I thought the idea at the time in the early seasons was that they would like splinter off into their own separate show, like a spinoff, and do like the little thing there. But they didn't, and now they've been there for like 4 seasons, and I just at least really want them gone. I mean, I like John, but he's like a nobody of a character now. Like he has like 1 or 2 lines in any scene he's in, and even that's like for the past like season or 2 has been like nothing. Ren though, I mean not Ren, Nora on the other hand, I don't know why they thought, oh yes, Nora is the star of that team. Oh, I wanted her to die since season 4. She is terrible. She had that weird thing where like in one season she was like breaking the 4th wall, like Deadpool just came out and like, oh, she could be our Deadpool. She's gonna make fun of things in the show that we make. And it's terrible. Her character's so boring. It's energetic to the point where it's cartoonish. I mean, it is a cartoon, but it's like in the world that they're in, it's like, why is this character here? Why would you keep her there? I mean, in the most recent episodes, she's just whining about like, I don't know what Ren and I are. And it's like, at this point, I'm assuming you're nothing because you kissed, and then apparently after you guys kissed, it led to nothing. And I know it hasn't been that long since the kiss, but like in one season they went from like, we're friends and we have feelings for each other, but we're not gonna acknowledge it. And immediately in the next season, and it's been like that for like 5 or 6 seasons, and in the next season they went like, oh man, there's so much like, sexual tension between us. What are we gonna do? Who's gonna make the first move? And I was like, okay, I guess all the development from that happened off screen. Then they kissed. And then since then, like, there was nothing. And then now they're like, God damn, I don't like... It's like they're angry at each other. Angry, I don't know why. Because they had different ideas of, like, the next mission. Which is why, like, all the teams split up. But they're like, it's just, like, weird feelings. And it's like, what is going on? Why do they feel like this? It doesn't make sense. All these characters seem like they don't have, like, any emotional stability. They just go from, like, extreme anger to extreme sadness. It's just, like, they all have, I was about to say epilepsy. It seemed like they all have mood disorders. Everyone reacts to situations really weirdly. So, I mean, for the past couple of seasons, I've noticed that characters, like the way the show wants them to be portrayed, is not really the way that I've seen a lot of people, fans, take it. Like, so a character will be like, these are the reasons I did this. And it's like, oh, that makes sense. And then characters in the show are like, oh my God, he's a monster. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm a little confused how you got to that point. I mean, the biggest example, I think, is Raven, a character who had so much hype and potential, and they dropped the ball with her. I mean, she hates Ozpin because he gave her powers? Like, cool powers? I never got that. She's like, I hate him. He turned me into a bird. I can turn into a bird now. And they even said, like, does it hurt when you do that? Nope. I could do it anytime. I could do it, in an instant. I could just turn into a bird. It's magical. There's no downside. In fact, he even said, do you want this power? And I agreed to it. And because of that, she hates him. I mean, among other things, but like that's like a main thing that they've talked about like for a whole season. Like, he did this to me. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's supposed to be, he's a monster. Can you believe that? And I mean, as a viewer, I'm like, it's pretty cool. I wish I wish you could do that to all the characters, give them cool superpowers that would help them in every situation. But, okay. And then another thing I'm seeing now, which is Ironwood. So Ironwood is now one of the big bads, like a minor boss villain, I guess you could say. And one thing I'm very confused about with the fandom is they're like, so a lot of characters, like I said, have stupid reasons for doing things. His right now thing is, so he's leading Atlas, and he's going to abandon Mantle, the city below Atlas, because Salem's coming. They don't have enough time to get everyone to evacuate people. So the most rational thing he's going to do is become an evil dictator and start shooting other council members and just abandon everyone. And the whole reason abandoning everyone is because they don't have time. Well, this season, so I was like, oh, okay, this is like they're in like a time pinch. This season starts, and it's been a few days, and the Grimm army is just standing still. They say in episode 3, the Horde of Grimm, they're just standing still. So I'm like, so you have the time now to evacuate people. You're stuck next to Atlas, or it's next to Mantle. You could evacuate people. Why aren't you doing it? Like, what's the in-show story of why he's not, like, it doesn't make any sense. And then people, RWBY fans, they're not good when it comes to just critiquing the show as like a regular person. Everything is everything is just like the best it can be. I mean, if you like hardcore RWBY fans, it's like, this is the greatest show of all time. It's masterful storytelling. It's nuanced. It's so yada yada yada. And really, in the end, it's like it's become a stupid cartoon show with like really stupid, corny reasons, or like reasons why characters do things. So I mean, I've seen people like comparing him to Thanos. And it's like blows me away because people are like, oh no, he's doing the rational thing. If I was in his shoes, I would do the same thing. And I'm reading those and I'm like, there couldn't be any more wrong. He's not doing the rational thing. It makes no sense what he's doing. He's just abandoning people because he's like afraid. It's stupid. But like, it's just, I'm like getting all over the place. I know. It's like I'm writing this show. And I guess that is one thing to bring up. That was a good segue. One thing to bring up. So Miles Luna, who's the voice of John in the show, he's been the head writer, or one of the two head writers, or just the head writer, I guess, since season 2 or 3, if I remember correctly. So he announced, I think in the summer of 2020, that he left the show this March. So he's been gone since then. So I'm very curious to see, because a lot of people have been complaining about how he writes, how he's written the show, especially when it comes to character development for certain characters, or character motivation, lack of dialogue between certain characters. Like, it's very, he's had a lot of people who've been unhappy with how he's been writing the show. And I mean, I guess I've been one of them. But so now that he's gone, I'm curious to see what his involvement was with this season. Like, is this his last season, like, written? Or is this the first season of whoever the new writers are? I think he did say, he's still voicing John, and I know that he said that he would still come back as like a consultant for the show and the writing staff. But I mean, I wonder what his level of involvement is now with the plot, and who really helmed this season, I guess, if it was the other writer. But yeah, we don't know. We're probably not going to know for a while who really wrote it. I mean, I think a lot of people, we wanted something new. Because one thing they did in the recent episode 3, which I loved, is it seems, at least for the foreseeable future, Penny's kind of been written out. Which, it's good and bad. Bad because I like Penny. Most people like Penny. She's a cool character. But good because this show has a serious problem with the number of characters that are they focus on. I mean, the original season, it was like Team RWBY, Team Juniper, kind of like they were there every once in a while. Then you had the professor, the glimpses of the villain, Professor Goodwitch, and Ozpin. I mean, since then they have RWBY, Juniper, Ozpin, Crow, Oscar, Penny, the little old lady, 7 villains, Ironwood's team, Winter, all of the Schnee family, Raven, Taiyang. I mean, and it's good that they're building the world, getting more characters. The only bad side is that the main characters, the show's named after, RWBY, Team RWBY, they get just no dialogue, no focus. I mean, they each had a season of focus, and then since then, it's kind of just been standstill, and they've been focusing on other characters, which is good, but it's not, I think, what a lot of people want to see. I mean, if you ask me, they got to get rid of Team Juniper. They got to get rid of all of Ironwood's lackeys, that Special Forces team. They got rid of Penny. Get rid of Crow. He's kind of been around too long now. He's in 6 seasons of sulking, and it's just just get over it, man. He was a goon. He was his own henchman. He was a henchman for the good guy. Just get over it, man. I can't take his his depression's giving me real depression whenever I watch him. It's too much. Just keep Ironwood as a minor boss villain. Keep Team RWBY. You can keep Oscar. Keep Salem, Cinder, and Neo. And what's his name? Tyrion. I keep forgetting his name. But keep a core group of characters you focus on, and you can have minor characters, but it's when you give all the minor characters all the dialogue in each scene. And so you're watching the show, and the main characters will have generic. The main characters will just have generic dialogue, something happens. Oh, I gotta give a quick, one-liner. Oh, I respond to that, someone comments about my one-liner, and I move on to the next scene. It can't be all of that for the whole season. They gotta start whittling it down to a core group of characters that they can focus on. And I think then it'll be in a really amazing place. Because I want this show to do well. I enjoyed it for such a long time, and I'm still enjoying it. I shouldn't have said I enjoyed it. I'm still enjoying it. And I want it to be back where it was a couple years ago. Because I over the years, I've been to a lot of conventions. Not a lot. I've been once a year at most. I go to conventions, and RWBY went from so in New York Comic Con, which is one of the main ones I go to, they had a whole section dedicated to Rooster Teeth, but more specifically RWBY. There were cosplayers everywhere. There were panels, meet and greets. It was a whole thing. RWBY was huge. I remember I had a RWBY T-shirt. I had a few RWBY T-shirts, and I could stop in the street and people were where'd you get that shirt? Because people enjoyed the show. It was huge. And then now, it's just not there. It really isn't. Which is sad, because I wish it was back there. I want it to be that big. I mean, I have the DVDs. I have them autographed by a lot of people. I enjoyed I enjoyed the meet and greets. I enjoyed the panels. And now, the last convention I went to, which is the 2019 one, they were barely there. They had a small section. It was just no cosplay. The cosplays are done. You'll see maybe a Ruby Rose here and there, but it's just not what it used to be, and that sucks because it was a really good show, and I still think it really can be a good show in the right direction. But yeah, so that's it for season 3. Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit in a future video when the season's over, my final takes on it. And hopefully when that happens, I'll talk about how amazing the season was. And how I can't wait for the next season. And yeah, it's going to be it for this. The next video will be by Joe. He's going to do a Genshin Impact video. And he said it's going to be at least 20 minutes. So he has a lot planned for that. Good on him. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm out.